So unless you've been living in a cave the last few weeks, you've heard about the historic $2 trillion stimulus package signed into law by President Trump March 27, 2020. Now the question is not whether you've heard about it. The question is, do you understand it, and do you know how to access the funds that are available to you as a small business owner and as an individual? Now, most of us are familiar with the $1,200 stimulus checks that we get as individuals as long as you filed taxes in 2018 or 2019. But what I want to focus on today is the $10,000 grant that you can get as a small business owner and you don't have to pay it back. I'm going to say it again. You can get a $10,000 grant that you do not have to pay back. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to access the $10,000 grant that you do not have to pay back. I'm also going to share with you two loan programs. One is called the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, and the other is called the Paycheck Protection Program. Each of these are very low interest rate loans. They do not come with any fees. And I'm also going to walk you through the applications that you have to fill out to access these products. So before we get started, if this is your first time here, this channel shares the challenges and successes of small business ownership through my eyes as a freight broker. If you're interested in learning more about the freight broker business, or maybe you're considering another small business, but you want to know what it's really like to be a 24/7 entrepreneur, then you're in the right place. Subscribe to my channel for weekly videos released on Mondays about overcoming the challenges of a freight broker business and winning as small business owners. I believe in starting small and growing big. And if you like the content on the channel, please smash that like button, share this video with your network, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be notified when I release new videos. And one reiteration, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. I have a huge goal of trying to reach 100,000 subscribers. And I certainly would appreciate it if you would support me and help me to get one step closer to achieving that goal. Thank you so much. Now let's get into the business.
So now we're going to get into what we've all been waiting for. I'm going to tell you how to get the $10,000 stimulus check for your business that you do not have to repay. Also, I'm going to talk about the Paycheck Protection Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. These are three different products. I'm going to explain them, make sure that you're on point so that you understand how to access the money that you need for your business. So let's get into it. Here's a disclaimer. Information provided in this video is for informational purposes only and is not meant to take the place of professional, legal, accounting, or financial advice. If you have any legal questions about this video or subjects discussed or any other legal matter, you should consult with an attorney or tax professional in your jurisdiction. All I'm saying here is that I am not a tax professional, a CPA, or a legal advisor. I am a business owner, and I have gone out, studied this information, and filled out these applications so that I can get funding for my business. Because the whole purpose of this funding is we don't know how long this coronavirus pandemic is going to last. We don't know how long the country is going to suffer, how long our businesses are going to suffer. So if you're not suffering right now, that doesn't mean that 3 months down the road, you won't start to have problems with cash flow. So these loans and grants are purpose for making sure that you have the money on hand to keep running your business. America does not want to see small businesses fail because they are vital to our economy. So that's what we want to make sure that we understand. And when you're looking over this information, make sure you're doing your research, doing your due diligence so that you understand it and how it's going to affect your business in the short term and long term. So you're already aware of the coronavirus and what it's done here in the United States. So because it has had such a damaging effect on the health of people in this country and also on the economy, the government has put in place what's called the CARES Act. And that came through the $2 trillion stimulus package signed into effect on March 27, 2020. Now, the purpose is to allocate substantial aid for small businesses, including $349 billion of federally guaranteed loans. This is the largest emergency stimulus package in United States history. Let's first discuss the Paycheck Protection Program. It's a 100% federally guaranteed loan for small businesses to address your working capital needs. PPP loans can be up to 2.5 months of average monthly payroll costs from last year plus 25%. Now, I don't know how the plus 25% goes, but I do know that my CPA gave me some information when it comes down to exactly how much you would be able to apply for. So let's just say that you pay yourself $2,500 a month for payroll. And $2,500 a month times 12 is $30,000. So if we take $30,000 and multiply it times 2.5, that'll give us a cap of $70,000 of what we can get for our business based on $30,000 a year in payroll cost. Okay, so whatever your payroll costs are, multiply that times 2.5. Now, again, I'm not familiar with the plus 25%, but I saw that on something that I was researching earlier on this topic. So I wanted to include that because that's what was put on the SBA's website, but my CPA didn't mention that 25%. So I'm just going to deal with 30 times 2.5. I'm thinking that I'm going to be eligible for 70,000 bucks. No personal guarantee or collateral requirement for this particular loan. You don't have to go in and sign and say that if the business cannot pay the loan, then you will personally guarantee the loan, and you don't have to have any collateral to sign up for this loan. We know most business loans, a lot of them at least, require that you personally guarantee the loan, or they require collateral. In this case, you don't need either of those. It's going to give you a $10 million cap, and it's a forgivable loan. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you use it for certain purposes, and we're going to talk about that, it is a forgivable loan. You do not have to pay it back. And for the Paycheck Protection Program loan, you're going to apply for this loan through your bank, not the SBA, not the Small Business Administration. You're going to be applying through your bank in order to get this particular loan. Now, what are the eligibility requirements? Businesses with 500 or fewer employees are eligible for this loan. Sole proprietors, self-employed individuals, freelance and gig economy workers, independent contractors, and you must have been in operation before February 15th of this year. How can the PPP loan be used? It can be used for payroll costs, as we mentioned, interest payments on any mortgage obligation. That means that if you have a mortgage on your building where you're working out of, if you have a mortgage on your house, you'll get a percentage of that mortgage. Now, of course, you can't take off the whole mortgage, but you'll get a percentage of that mortgage depending on your office space. So the interest payments on any mortgage, you'll be able to pay. If you're paying rent on a building that your business is housed in, you'll be able to use it for that. Utilities. Utilities are also another expense that we can use the PPP loan for. So these are operation expenses that we are able to use our PPP loan for and still get the money forgiven, or the loan forgiven, I should say. Interest on any debt obligations incurred before February 15th. And PPP loans are forgivable if the money is spent on operating expenses, as we said earlier: rent, payroll costs, mortgage interest, and utilities. So as long as you're spending that money on those things, you don't have to pay it back. It is a forgivable loan. Now that we've covered the PPP, that's the Paycheck Protection Program, we've talked about you can qualify up to $10 million. There's a $10 million cap on it. And it is basically going to depend on how much money you're paying out. If you're paying out $30,000 a year, it'll be 30,000 times 2.5 to give you a total of $70,000. If you're paying $100,000, it'll be, 100 times 2.5 would give you what you're going to be able to qualify for when it comes down to the amount of a loan. Now let's talk about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. It's a fixed interest rate loans for working capital for your business. This is not a forgivable loan. You will have to pay back the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. It's capped at $2 million, and it has very relaxed eligibility requirements. Why is that? Because we're going through this pandemic right now. So they've relaxed the requirements in order for you to become eligible. So you should be able to qualify for this loan depending on your specific situation. Now, how can EIDL be used? Again, fixed debts, payroll, accounts payable, sick leave to employees due to direct effect of the COVID-19, meeting increased costs to obtain materials unavailable due to supply chain issues, and repaying certain obligations that cannot be met due to revenue losses. Now, you can expect this information to be updated from time to time. This has been the standard for most research I've done, this is what I've been seeing that the EIDL can be used for. So as long as you're using it for these things, you are good to go. Just make sure that you don't use it for anything else. It's specifically used for the things mentioned on this particular slide. Let's talk about the requirements in order for you to be eligible for the EIDL. Businesses with 500 or fewer employees, private nonprofit organizations, sole proprietorships with or without employees, independent contractors, must have started your business no later than January 31st, 2020. No personal guarantee required for loans less than $200,000. You do not have to establish, you cannot receive credit elsewhere, meaning you don't have to go out and apply at a bank and be denied before you can apply for the EIDL through the Small Business Administration, because we're going to apply for the EIDL through the SBA. We said private nonprofit organizations are eligible for the loan. Also, for-profit organizations are eligible for this loan. The interest rates for the EIDL. Remember, we talked about it was very low interest rates in the beginning of the video. 2.75% for nonprofit organizations, 3.75% for small businesses for profit. And payments can be deferred up to 1 year. So if you get the loan today, you can defer the payments up to 1 year before you start paying back the loan. Now we've talked about the Paycheck Protection Program, and we've talked about the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. Now I want to talk to you about the emergency grant that comes as part of applying for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. It's a $10,000 cash advance for businesses that apply for EIDL loan, paid within 3 days of your application. There's $10 billion allocated for the EIDL grants, and it's used for the same purpose as the EIDL loans. Businesses do not have to repay the EIDL grant, even if the business application for an EIDL loan is denied. So let's put this in perspective. So as a business owner, you apply for the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And when you apply for that loan, you also become eligible for the emergency grant, the EIDL emergency grant. Now, what this means is that if you apply for the EIDL loan, then once you apply for that loan, even if the loan is denied, you are still eligible to receive the $10,000 grant. And the $10,000 grant does not have to be paid back. I want to say that again. When you apply for the EIDL loan, there's a box that you check to say, hey, I'm interested in receiving the emergency grant. When you check that box, you'll provide your banking information, your routing number and your account number. And when you put that in, 3 days after that, then you will receive a $10,000 cash advance for your business that you do not have to pay back. So anytime I can get free money that I don't have to pay back, I'm always interested. Now, of course, we are looking at both of these as loans. So now both of these programs that we talked about are loans. Let's not forget that. These are loans that we are applying for, but now these loans are very low interest rate loans. And if you apply for the EIDL loan, it comes with the emergency grant that you can get and not have to pay back in the amount of $10,000. So I don't know about you, but that sounds very, very good to me. I'm not someone who likes to go out and get loans, but at the same time, if I can get a loan that is 3.75% when I'm usually paying 9, 10, 11% for business loans, then that is definitely very attractive to me. You'll have to decide if it's as attractive to you and your business. But I like the fact that I can go in and pay very low interest rates on loans if I decide to go out and get that loan. But what I like even more is with the EIDL, there's an emergency grant that comes with it of $10,000 that I don't have to pay back. That sounds wonderful to me. How about you? So let's take a look at an important note that we should consider. One of the considerations when assessing these programs is that there is no duplication of the loans. Borrowers that receive an EIDL for COVID-19 reasons cannot also receive PPP for the same purpose. Borrowers may receive loans under both loan programs, but they cannot be for the same purpose. If a borrower receives an EIDL grant and is later approved for PPP, any amount advanced will be subtracted from the total amount forgiven. So that's pretty self-explanatory. If you get the EIDL grant and you're later approved for the PPP, then that amount is going to be subtracted from the amount that you're going to get for that PPP. So it's saying that you can get both. You can get the EIDL and the PPP, but they cannot be for the same purpose. So in summary, that's the EIDL grant, the EIDL loan, and the PPP loan. I would urge you to take a look at your specific situation and decide what is best for you and your business. I hope that you don't need any funds right now for your business, but in the event that you need funds, I certainly hope that you're able to take advantage of these programs. Okay, so I'm going to start out by going to the SBA website. I'm there now, but I want to go to the top so that you can see how it works. Go to the SBA.gov website, and the coronavirus is right there. We see it. You want to learn more about it, you can click there and learn more about it. But I'm going to go to the funding programs here and click on coronavirus relief options. And once I click on coronavirus relief options, it's going to load up and it's going to show me some more information here. So it says coronavirus relief options. I'm going to take a look at this. Looks like I'm in the right place. It says Paycheck Protection Program. That's one of the programs we talked about. EIDL Loan Advance. So I'm going to click into EIDL Loan Advance because that's the $10,000 that we were talking about that we can get and not have to pay it back. So let's start there. It's going to give us some information on the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Emergency Advance. We've talked about this stuff already, eligibility, overview, that good stuff. And then it comes down here, it says, apply for COVID Economic Injury Disaster Loan and Loan Advance. So I'm just going to click here. Now, what this is going to do is take me to the EIDL loan application. It takes me to the EIDL loan application because I have to have an EIDL loan application in place in order to be considered for the grant. So this is a very, very simple loan process, or a loan application, I should say. You go through and you give your business information, business owner's information, and then it's going to ask for some additional information and then a quick summary. This application is going to take you about 10 minutes to fill out. If you look here, it says choose one. Applicant is a business with not more than 500 employees, or applicant is an individual who operates under a sole proprietorship with or without employees, or as an independent contractor. Most of us are going to fall within one of these two, but if you can keep reading on here to see if in fact you may fall in another category. Next step, we're going to say review and check all of the following. Applicant must review and check all the following. If applicant is unable to check all of the following, then applicant is not an eligible entity. So go down and take a look at these. If you can mark checks by all of these, then you're good to go. And then we would just click that one. The first one here that says applicant is a business with more than 500 employees, and sign off and click all of these. And then we're going to go to continue. And when we do that, it's going to start coming up asking for business information. Now, this is the information that you have to provide. Business legal name, the trade name, the EIN or the SSN for you, the organization type. Is the applicant a nonprofit? No. Is the applicant a franchise? In my case, no. Gross revenue and cost of goods. Those are the areas that you have to fill out. Once you do that, you're going to come down to the bottom portion of it, and you provide your business address, your city and state, your zip, and your business phone. Of course, business email, date that the business was established, the current ownership since date, business activity. You're going to give you some choices there. I'm going to choose freight. Since that's my area, you might want to choose transportation if that's your area, retail, whatever it may be. Then it will say detailed business activity and give you some options there. You'll just click your drop down button there. If it'll let me. Well, it won't let me go in there for some reason. But it's going to give you some more choices there. For some reason, I can't go into it. Then it'll give you the number of employees of your business. So if you have one employee, 2, 3, 4, just put that in there, and then you'll be able to click next. Now, I'm not going to go through the entire application because it's relatively straightforward. It's going to give you business owner's information, then some additional information, and then your summary. You go through and look at your application, make sure it's good to go, and then you click submit. Once you submit that application, make sure that you have a good email in there because they're going to send you information in reference your application to that email. And it'll say something like, after 3 days, they'll send you the $10,000 grant. You'll also see a part in here where it says additional information, if I remember correctly, where it's going to ask you if you would like to be considered for the $10,000 grant. If you would, and I'm sure you would, you just click and put a check mark by that saying you would. Then it will ask you for your banking information, your routing number and your account number. When it does that and get that information, then your money will be directly deposited into that account. So very, very straightforward, relatively easy. Now, as it pertains to the Paycheck Protection Program, I want to take a look at that really quickly, but this particular application is not going to be submitted to the SBA, and that's the Small Business Administration. You're going to submit this application to your bank, whatever bank that you use. So I'll go into this really quickly. You can click on this, on your own time, go into it, take a look at it so that you can get a better understanding of it. But just remember, you're not going to submit the Paycheck Protection Program application to the SBA. It will be submitted to your bank. And that's something you probably want to get moving very quickly on because money is running out, time is running out on these. So this is the Paycheck Protection Program, and what we're looking for is the application. So if we come down here and take a look for affiliation rules applicable for the Paycheck Protection Program, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the application, and it is going to show us here. If you wish to begin preparing your application, you can download a copy of the PPP Borrower Application Form to see the information that will be requested from you when you apply with a lender. So you can click on this and it'll show you the information that they're going to request. But I also want you to know what that application looks like. Okay, it says here, Lender Forms and Guidance. Click here to download the Paycheck Protection Program lender application form. So let's click that and see if this application that I have, and I'm pretty sure that it is. And if it is, that's the application that you're going to need to get your application or your loan application started. Yep, that's it. Paycheck Protection Program lender application form. And if you see here, this is very, very straightforward. Put your company information here, and you'll take this application to your bank. So that's the Paycheck Protection Program application and the EIDL application with the grant. So I hope this information was helpful.
And one last thing, if you're interested in learning more about the freight broker business, go to my website, www.brandonthefreightbroker.com. Wait for the pop-up to appear, then register for my 5-video series titled How the Load Movement Process Works. What you're going to get with the 5-video series is an in-depth look at load movement. You're going to actually see me go through the process, see me talk to customers, see me moving loads. You're going to see all of the paperwork that comes with moving a load from point A to point B. So make sure you take advantage of that. Also, one last time, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like the content. Help me out a whole lot in reaching my goals. One last thing before I go. There's a lot of people out here talking about how you move loads and make money. But there's one guy, that's me, who's showing you how it's done, walking the walk and talking the talk. So until next time, see you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.